Something like this? Awesome. Okay. You got to stay clear. And you're live.
We're live? Oh. Okay. Welcome to Prevail Over Cancer and Hyperbaric.plus. And so we're broadcasting on several different channels. We are running a little bit late today, so some unplanned issues, but we're live now. So I have a handout. We're going to be talking about kidney function today, Hyperbaric.plus, several different platforms, and also Prevail Over Cancer. And I have the handouts at prevailovercancer.com in the Learning Center. We also have Josh with us today from Ultra Botanica. So they have some wonderful, highly absorbed proteasorb. Okay, protosorb, trademarked active absorption particles for their polyphenols, which are a core part of my program. And so welcome, and we'll get started. So we're going to be a little bit abbreviated today, and as usual, I will be using my handout to help keep me focused on things. If you have questions about kidney function or liver function, they're related, message that. If you have other cancer questions, message that. Toward the end, we'll have a little Q&A session, and I'll try to have time to answer most of those questions. So we'll go ahead and get started. So Hyperbaric.plus and prevailovercancer.com. So kidney function. So the kidneys do many different things in the body, and not just make urine. And so that urination process actually is where toxins are finally eliminated out of the body. The liver actually has a couple of phases and changes that from a toxin chemical to an intermediate, which then the liver has to do a phase 2 to get rid of that nasty chemical, and then that goes through the kidneys. And so if that process in the liver is not operating right, now the kidneys are going to be potentially damaged, or even the bladder as the urine's going out through the body. So even though from a cancer standpoint, if the body's not detoxing those chemicals properly from the liver, that can create some kidney damage and even some bladder issues and even bladder cancer. So it's very important. So the kidneys do many things. Another thing, just top of my head, I think even the kidneys help convert vitamin A or vitamin D in the body into the active vitamin D that we need. So the kidneys make high blood pressure chemicals that lower blood pressure. And matter of fact, I've done some genetic testing myself, and actually I have an issue with that. So from one of my parents, I don't know which one, I inherited a tendency not to be able to make chemicals that lower my blood pressure. And matter of fact, another kidney issue that I have is the kidneys also help control mineral balance and controlling sodium. And I have a problem with that, from one of my parents. And so that actually means that I have a tendency to have high blood pressure. So this is a little bit frustrating. So I have a tendency to have high blood pressure, and so blood pressure goes up, but then high blood pressure can create kidney disease. And so I'm really, I pay attention to my numbers, I do tests, and monitor my blood pressure, monitor my kidney function, just to make sure that I'm doing okay. So kidneys also will control mineral balance, like the sodium. And so actually on top of the kidneys are the adrenal glands. Those adrenal glands tell the kidneys how to control that sodium and chloride. And so one of the things I'm looking at with my clients, cancer clients, is going to be that sodium chloride balance. So if sodium is low normal, then I'm suspecting there's maybe an issue with their adrenal glands. And so we're going to be working on things to help them with that. So the kidneys actually do many different things. Let's see if I left anything out. So one reason we actually do this a lot, and talk about this at the Hyperbarics, is that's one of the goals, and Paul, who can't be with us today, actually is keeping records of his clients and keeping track of their GFR number and their creatinine number while they're going through the hyperbaric sessions, and also near infrared, NIR, red light therapies, also can help with the kidneys. So he's actually keeping track of those with his clients, and we're seeing some great trends. So the kidneys, like most of our body, is pretty resilient. If we make enough changes, the body can heal to a certain extent. If we break a bone, we can set that bone, realign it, make corrections, and that bone will heal. And even that one spot where the bone broke is actually now stronger and better than the rest of the bone. And so, but our kidneys can, to a certain extent, can get better. So even if you do have, those of you that are watching that have what's called chronic kidney disease, the kidneys can get better. And matter of fact, with my clients, I expect that. And as they're going through their therapies. So don't just give up, but we're going to kind of try to cover some of those things today. So the common causes of kidney disease can include diabetes. And so diabetes creates a bad circulation issue, can damage the blood vessels. And as with any kind of a part of our body, if we have a lack of blood supply to that organ's going to start decaying and breaking down. So elevated blood sugar starts creating some plaque buildup in the body. And so on the handout I have this, and I know it's kind of hard to see, we're a little ways away from the camera, but so this picture shows some atherosclerosis, some plaque inside the blood vessels. That plaque, the worse it gets, the greater the problem. And actually, just a little bit of plaque in a capillary where a red blood cell just barely squeezes through, a little bit of plaque will block off that blood vessel. And then those cells that are lined along that capillary are going to start dying out. That is chronic kidney disease. So that is the most common cause. There can be other issues like some medications, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, NSAIDs, can also damage the kidneys if we don't stop that early enough. But even with these issues, if we can improve circulation, that's part of the purpose of a hyperbaric session. Sauna sessions, also one of my favorite things. We get red, we get hot, the blood vessels dilate, improve circulation throughout the body, and then targeted supplements. We're going to talk about some of those too. I do expect and for those to get better with most of my clients. So even a pre-diabetes issue, for example, if your blood glucose A1C level is above 5.7 on a regular basis, that's enough to start creating kidney damage. So we've got to follow up with those lab tests. I have a saying, assess and don't guess. We've got to do things to help bring those numbers down. There are certain medications that can even help out with that. So some medications, actually, our blood pressure medications, can actually even protect the kidneys. So a popular one is lisinopril. It's well known in people that have chronic kidney disease and diabetes. Taking that, it actually preserves their kidneys and they don't decay and break down as fast. But anyway, so atherosclerosis, the next thing on the handout, by the way, hyperbaric.plus and prevailovercancer.com. You can actually get this handout at Prevail Over Cancer. It's on the Learning Center down toward the bottom of the page. There's a handout that has more details because it's hard to follow because I'm going kind of fast, I know. Hard to follow and write down everything, but you can get a free handout. That's going to be on there for about a week. Next week, we're going to talk about probably liver function. And so next week, the handout's going to change. So get your handout this week at prevailovercancer.com. So atherosclerosis, if your blood pressure, if the top number is above 130, you have atherosclerosis. You have plaque buildup inside your blood vessels. And it depends on, that plaque could be anywhere from, in your eyeball, in your brain, to your heart, to your kidneys, to your pinky toe. Plaque anywhere, can raise that blood pressure. But also, that's a sign that that plaque may also be occurring inside the kidneys and damaging, therefore, the kidneys by not getting good blood supply. So I like to monitor blood pressure closely. Inflammation and oxidative stress. So inflammation we think of as arthritis. We talk about that. We're talking about that in the dive today with a person. And so her HSCRP, high sensitive C-reactive protein, was elevated, and she's done a great job. She does have cancer history. She's done a great job getting that down from being, I think she said it was 8 or 9 or something like that, and it's now down to 0.7. Yeah. And so that's a great thing because inflammation damages the body and is a driving factor for cancer also. So inflammation can be an issue. Oxidative damage also can damage any part of the body. Matter of fact, even the eyeballs, the cataract, the lens in the eyes, the retina, any part of our body can be damaged by oxidative damage. An example of that is when you cut an apple in half and you set those apple slices on the counter, that apple flesh, white flesh, quickly starts turning brown because it does not have very many antioxidants on it. What do you do to help prevent that? Lemon juice, citrus oranges, citrus, fruit fresh, which is actually vitamin C. You squeeze that on there or put those powders on there, and it provide those antioxidants provide electrons that repair the damaged cells and keep them from turning brown. Eventually, that lemon juice, orange juice, is going to run out. It's not going to work, and eventually that fruit or vegetable, you can do that with either, will start turning brown because there's not enough antioxidants in it. So that's what oxidative damage is, and that happens in our body, throughout our body. And that can also damage the kidneys. Nephrotoxins and medications, I mentioned earlier, NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories can be a problem. Certain antibiotics, matter of fact, in laboratory settings where they study kidney function, what can they do to try to help that? Actually, they give an antibiotic that literally instantly damages those little mice's kidneys. And then they try to figure out how can we get that back, get that kidney function back. So antibiotics can be a problem, not all antibiotics, but some can be a problem. Contrast agents, so those of you going through PET scans, MRIs, are giving chemicals and metals to show up and glow on those scans. The body has to detox and get rid of those. The last step of that is going through the kidneys. And so toxic metals, lead, arsenic, cadmium, toxic metals are also oxidative, and they can damage those tissues. And let's see what else on that. So, while you're going through that, be sure and drink plenty of fluids while you're going through that. So what was it?
I was just going to say, noticing how important the diet is. So
yes,
eliminating processed foods and seed oils
yeah.
and the things that are poisoning you.
Yeah, exactly. We're learning that. Matter of fact, even now even oncologists are starting to realize that processed foods are a problem. And even there's a gastroenterologist that told one of my clients that, because she was young, and she asked, why did I have cancer? And he says, well, I think it's probably because of the processed foods, and the plastics, that we're being exposed to. So this was a young person, so, less than 50 years old. So it's no longer an old person's type issue for colorectal cancer. So cleaning products. Cleaning products, that reminds me. Cleaning products, there's actually studies showing that women that are housekeepers, that actually for a living, they go out and clean people's houses, and women that use a lot of cleaning chemicals in their home have an increased risk of kidney damage and cancer. Because those odors are enough to actually damage the body, damage the kidneys. We can take a little bit. We can be hit with something and be a minor thing, but day in and day out, that creates a problem. And so for kidney cancer and bladder cancer, one of those risk factors is actually an indoor pool, a swimming pool or hot tubs. When you walk into that room and you smell that, I always thought it was like I was smelling chlorine. Well, it wasn't really chlorine. It was a disinfecting products made from the chlorine disinfectant. So, but those disinfecting products actually are extremely toxic, damage the kidneys and the bladder, and increase the risk of kidney disease or kidney cancer. So, even indoor pools that are disinfected with chlorine or bromine, those chemicals, that smell is a problem. So, when I go to a hotel, I open that door and taking that whiff, if there's a bad smell, no way. I'm not going in that pool, in that room. So, because that is a situation that sets you up for increased cancer concerns. But any type of a cleaning chemical, except for natural products. So if we can go with oils, let's see, vinegar and oils, like citrus oils. Yeah. And I'll give a shout out to actually Annie's Pure and Simple. She's got a product where she uses different oils for different type of cleaning products. It's amazing how well that works. I clean my outdoor grill, the surfaces in the kitchen. It's amazing, even floors. And so it's a great product. So Annie's, thank you for providing us a great, simple product on that. Okay, and smoked foods. So overcooked foods, burnt foods, and smoked foods. So I converted my meat smoker, into a dehydrator. So I no longer smoke my meats because those smoke chemicals are actually cancer-causing chemicals. And so I don't do that anymore. Be cautious about that, especially if you have a history of bladder cancer or kidney disease even. Aging, as we get older, what happens to our body?
Breaks down.
Just breaks down. You know, it doesn't work as good. That's a risk factor. We're going to age, yes, but we can do other things. And so, yes, but even my clients that are aging, I still expect their numbers to get better. You know, a minimum, you know, stay the same, but I really do expect them to get better. And so now we're going to kind of go over some targeted therapies. And so Josh shared this several months ago, back in August, about, you know, he came across an article. Actually, somebody told him about it.
Yeah, I had a 76-year-old man that I did work with who was, he called it stage 5.75
Okay.
CKD. So they wanted to put him on dialysis, and he refused. And they referred him to an end-of-life coach. And his wife started banging and found this Arabic, traditional Arabic therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And there's actually a lot of research out of the Iranian universities on it. But yeah, using camel's milk and tart cherries and blueberry and corn silk as a therapeutic to reverse CKD. And he went from, over the course of a year, went from a 5.75 to no CKD. And
Wow.
it was his nephrologist was dumbfounded, and we shared it with somebody here at the chamber back in September, August of last year, who was just at 0.25 or 2.5 CKD, but same thing. He did it and reversed it. So it was really interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure what makes it all work. I know in the cherries and berries and corn silk and cumin, the polyphenols are critical.
They're repairing
yeah.
the cells.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the camel's milk is just a really high value milk. It's kind of like whale's milk, I think, is the only thing that's more
really?
potent than camel's milk as far as nutrients are concerned.
Okay.
But for whatever reason, it worked.
Yeah, it is. As a matter of fact, there is some research behind it too in the medical journals.
Yeah.
And so I had to check that out, and there is some research behind that. So, and I've got kind of like the little recipe in that journal, and they were using 400 milliliters, which is just a little bit under 2 cups of camel's milk a day, 1,000 milligrams of tart cherry powder or capsules, and blueberry extract, actually, of blueberries, like 500 milligrams, and corn silk. We've known some of these, actually, like corn silk. We've known that for a long time about kidney function with corn silk. And so, although I have to admit, I haven't really researched that in detail. And then black cumin and seed, also powerful antioxidants. And so,
great for all kinds of
yeah,
things.
all kinds of things, exactly, on that. And then so that is another thing, and actually I haven't tried that with anybody, but once again, there's actually a medical research article about that. And that's probably what this lady found, was that research article about it. So, and then vitamin D3 and K2 and magnesium. So vitamin D3 does help pull plaque out of the blood vessels. It helps pull the calcium out of the plaque. Vitamin K2 works better than that at pulling that plaque out of the blood vessels, the calcium out of that plaque, softening the plaque and improving circulation. And then magnesium also activates the vitamin D3. So the vitamin D3 that our body makes and that we take as a supplement has to be changed into a form that works. And actually magnesium is part of that. That's we call it a cofactor. It's required to help see that to work, for that to work. So
the K2 is also helping redeposit those calcium buildups into the bone.
Yeah, so I
bones.
didn't mention that. So actually, so it pulls the plaque out of the blood vessels and then moves it into the bones. As a matter of fact, that process is exactly the same process. Pulling it out is just the opposite process of putting it into the bones. The exact same acronym and process in the body. It's really interesting about that. So yes, K2, and now even nephrologists are starting to recognize D and even K2, can be important, and even actually just for kidney health anyway. I look at those type items to help attach the calcium, and to help move the calcium into the bone so it won't go through the urine and create kidney stones. So that's another damaging factor. And then one of my favorite items is actually NAC and curcumin. And Ultra Botanica has a product that I love. It's a combination of NAC and curcumin. Actually, they've got a couple of them,
Yeah.
2 different products.
Yeah, and
Okay.
the big thing is that the curcumin is not well absorbed, but N-acetylcysteine, NAC, is an amino acid that's readily absorbed, and we've got a patent on binding polyphenols like curcumin to amino acids or to proteins, which greatly increase the absorption and bioavailability of the product. So it's actually kind of a double whammy
Yes.
when they're bound.
And so, as a matter of fact, by actually doing this type of protocol and concentrating on trying to improve circulation, and it includes exercise. I mean, there's so many things to do, but once again, I expect to see these numbers get better. The kidney numbers get better. And NAC and curcumin is one of my favorite combinations for that situation. Although for those of you with an active cancer concern, NAC, I'm just a little bit more cautious about that. NAC may repair cancer cells that have been damaged. So that's part of the goal of treatments, and even natural treatments is to kill the cancer cells. The NAC may help repair that. So I'm a little bit more cautious with it. For active cancer treatments.
We've actually moved because of that. We do a brown rice protein conjugate, and then we're working on a conjoined conjugate amino sugar instead of an amino acid.
So you have a new
doesn't have the reparative.
So new products coming out. I'm excited about that. So okay, and then urolithin A. You've done a lot of work with urolithin A.
It's a wonder product.
It is really neat.
Yeah.
So our body can make it. But actually, some people can't.
Right, as long as your gut microbiome is in check, and that's kind of the source of the problem in general. So many of these things, when we have these afflictions, our gut biome is out of balance, and so it does create dysfunction in terms of how we do it. But if you have a healthy gut biome, your body will produce urolithin A from the elegans and elegantannins and like pomegranates and pecans and walnuts. There's great. But it is originally is researched around muscle deterioration.
Okay.
We got particularly interested in it because of cancer and some of the restorative things it potentially does in the body.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's truly for nerves, mitochondria.
So it's some energy type things.
Yeah, yeah.
And brain function.
It's been shown to repair damaged mitochondrial DNA. Yeah, and we've seen positive impact on nerve damage. So there's a lot of promise with it.
Yeah, okay.
A lot of research around it.
Yeah, and a lot of developing research. I mean,
Yeah.
like a lot of active research on it. So urolithin A is do people notice like a mental benefit from it? I mean,
I don't know. When I first started taking it, I noticed kind of that I take it on an empty stomach with black coffee.
Okay.
And the first time I started taking it, I kind of felt that sensation that you get when you have a hydrating IV that just kind of gave me I don't know if energy is the right word,
Okay.
but kind of a buzz sensation of just go. And but I think everybody has kind of different reactions
Okay.
to it. There's a big company out of Switzerland that has some patents on it around primarily around physical body muscular generation and repair, because it does mitigate muscle deterioration. So if you are a bodybuilder or you're a workout person, it also, because of that, it also helps increase that. But it's got a lot of interesting properties, and we still don't know enough about it. It's pretty volatile in the system, and it'll break down into different urolithins and then breaks down beyond that once your body starts processing it. So it's really a fascinating product.
Could even be some other benefits
Big
to
time.
on that. So gut health is very important, and you mentioned those foods. Also, there are supplements available
Yes.
currently. So perhaps sometime y'all will bring one out. So
Very soon.
okay, and then methylene blue is another one of those items that does improve mitochondrial health. And there is some little snippets of research showing that it can help out with the with kidney function and repair of the kidneys. So and then also I like to look at If you'll grab that for me, thank you. I like to look at nitric oxide, and nitric oxide helps open up blood vessels. That's everything we got to do. We have to open up the blood vessels to the kidneys for them to heal. The same thing with the brain, the kidneys, your pinky toe, whatever, if there's neuropathy, whatever the problem is, we have to open up the blood vessels.
Well, it's kind of like everything we talk about with exercise or any of this stuff. It's movement. So it's, you need your blood moving through your body. So anywhere that it's constricted is a choke point for being able to detoxify or nourish.
Yeah. So it's one of the purposes of probably seeing the background, the hyperbaric chamber also is to that process opens up the blood vessels. And so, matter of fact, one of the things that one of our clients also mentioned earlier was, I like to take supplements before the session, because the session is going to open up the blood vessels. And by taking those supplements ahead of time, like an hour before you get in, like before I started driving here, I took my supplements. So by the time I got in, they're in my body, in my blood system, and now the blood vessels are dilated. I can get those into the little tiny nooks and crannies that have poor circulation and get those important. That's where those things need to go.
Yeah.
Those are the areas that are not going to be functioning right. So hyperbaric treatments are definitely part of that. So exercise, sauna, red light. We're not going to have time to go into a lot of detail on that, but red light therapy, NIR, near infrared, also helps the mitochondria, gives energy and helps them to repair. And you want to do that. It has to be more like an NIR to go deep enough, over the kidney area on the back. And so once again, get your hand out, and because we're not going to have time to go over everything on this, but get your hand out about that, because I do go into the time frames, the strengths that you need. It does need to be more like an NIR, which you can't actually see that light. And so the red light is good, but it only penetrates, maybe half of an inch. NIR is going to go more like an inch and a half deep. So we want to layer everything. We want to do as many different things, no matter what the health challenge, whether it's kidneys, damage and function, or liver issues, or cancer. We want to do as many things as possible. We cannot rely on just one thing.
Right.
So do as many things as possible on that. So, okay, so we'll do a little Q&A. We've got just a few more minutes before we'll need to go off the air. So did you know something about citric acid supplement in cancer treatment? So citric acid, can be actually good. So the body actually converts that. Citric acid does actually eat away at kidney stones. And it creates, it helps with like calcium type kidney stones. And then citric acid is also an energy chemical. And so I'm not concerned about citric acid for cancer. It is not an acid that makes our body acidic. It is, it's kind of like acetic acid from vinegar does not make our body acidic. Our body converts that into alkaline type products.
Most of the time, people that are talking about this are talking about intravenous high-dose vitamin C therapies for cancer, and there's a lot of research around that.
Yeah, a lot of research about high-dose vitamin C, which I'm a big fan of on that. Can you talk about, I believe they're talking about astaxanthin as an immune system enhancer, and so actually a lot of antioxidants from all kinds of vegetables and fruit or foods like astaxanthin, which can be found like in krill oil, which is a product that I take, is an antioxidant and repairs cells. And so it can help the natural killer cells and the T cells to kind of regenerate and be repaired so they can jump back into that battle. Because when they're actually attaching to those cancer cells, they can become damaged. They become tired and fatigued. And so we're looking at ways to try to help with that. So in this order, pools with chlorine isn't a good idea, right? Well, we do have to have disinfecting, but it's the indoor pools with that smell. And actually, so it depends on if the water is clean and there's no smell in that area, I'm not as concerned. If I smell that disinfecting smell, and or if there's a lot of little kids, that may be urinating in the pool or, dirty pool water, and they put that chlorine in, that's the problem. And so whether it be a hot tub or whatever, I want to be careful. And even a salt pool, a sodium chloride pool, that chloride is chlorine, and that can even be a problem in an enclosed pool. So it's not always just the chlorine, but it's that smell. If you smell that disinfecting smell, that's not a clean smell, okay? That's byproducts. So let's see, what is the name of the therapy? I'm not sure what you mean by that. So email or send another message, and I'll try to answer that later. How to heal a scar post brain surgery a year later. So it's kind of a challenge, but also, actually increased circulation. And so gentle massage and even some heat therapies. We dilate those blood vessels. Red light therapies, might be appropriate. Double check with your team, healthcare team, about that. But red light does improve healing in the body. And there are some scar gels that actually contain some silicone, but also that actually just literally applying that type of a gel. Matter of fact, I have a testimony about that. I've had both my hips replaced. The first one, I did use a scar cream that contained some silicone in it, but I also rub that in twice a day, massage that, almost no scar whatsoever. And actually, it's like a 9-inch incision. I did not do that on the other hip. I have a nasty 9-inch scar. And then a year later, I started using that scar cream, and it got on the top half of it, and the top half got better. It's still there, but it got better. So the longer that scar has been there, the more difficult it is to hide, to heal. So where's your office at? So my office is virtual. So I meet with clients all over the world. And so yesterday I had a client in Spain and California. I'm losing track. My wife said, actually, I need to put a map up. So India, United Kingdom, Australia, and I've got clients.
Clocks up in your room?
We'll put clocks up, yeah. So it is kind of hard to actually, there's a little bit of a challenge with time zones. Even in the United States, we had problems with time zones. So anyway, it's virtual. I have a page on my website about that, at the coaching page. So which curcumin blend do you recommend? So I use actually the UltraCur Pathway 2 primarily for my clients, but sometimes if there's actually some lung issues, fibrosis issues, and other issues, and I will at times even take another one that is actually their curcumin product with NAC, and that's UltraCur Pro. And what's the other one called?
We've got another one coming out, which will be Pro Advanced, which is like the curcumin. So it has the curcumin, N-acetylcysteine, frankincense, and full spectrum hemp.
Yeah. So so that's the one, the Ultra Botanica on my website. I have some links and information about that. So is curcumin a photosynthesis for red light therapy? Yes, it can be, definitely. And so that's one of my, a lot of times my clients will actually do a red light therapy after they've taken their curcumin.
We actually do a special product for Weber in Germany for their red light therapy devices for that. Okay.
Well, thank you for attending. We're going to have to call it an end of this session, so I know it's kind of short. I'm sorry about that today, but I look forward to seeing you all next week. Next week, we're going to probably go over liver function. I'm not sure. It depends on how many people have questions about certain things. So it looks like maybe liver function, which is very important, and it's indirectly related to this. So thank you for tuning in to hyperbaric.plus and prevaillivercancer.com. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you.